She's back. Yes, the lovely Anna Kelly is back. She was off in Costa Rica, I think, with her son doing some real estate stuff. Then she was back, then she was gone. And folks, she was on her first ocean cruise with her family. And we're just going to take a minute and celebrate that. We're going to hear about it. Is she a fan of cruises? Does she hate it? Just all of that stuff. Anna, welcome back. So what'd you think?
Great. Thanks so much. It's so good to be back home. But I had an amazing June with 3 out of 4 weeks traveling. So we went to Belize to the real estate guys conference. And then that's
Mm.
the one I went to with my son. Came back for a couple of days and then went on a 7 day cruise to the Bahamas. So all my kids, they range from 12 to 19. So pretty hard to get them to agree on what they want to do, right? They
Yeah.
all wanted to go to the Atlantis water park in the Bahamas. And so I said, do I really want to spend a whole week sitting at a water park? Or maybe we can do a cruise. And so I was very thankful that my husband of 23 years finally agreed to go on a cruise. He had said no, no, no before. And
Yeah.
so I booked it non-refundable and I said, okay,
Honey, we're
we're
going.
going. And I'm happy to say, again, I took my husband, my 4 kids, and my mother-in-law, and every single one of us just absolutely loved it and said, we have to do this again. This is the way to vacation.
Yeah.
And so, we booked suites. So we did get the concierge services,
Yep.
better dining than what comes in the main dining.
Yeah.
And it was well worth the small, incremental price per person to go that way. But it was just an absolutely amazing time. And we had so much fun. We've already booked our cruise for next year as well in
Oh,
Europe
love that.
this time.
Europe. Yeah,
Yes.
so we've Olivia and I love cruises. I remember my first cruise out of San Francisco was to Alaska. I want to say that was like 2005, right? So quite
Wow.
a while ago. And like you, I was very type A, always on my phone, always having email. Back in 2005, Wi-Fi wasn't very good on ships. So I remember being antsy because if you go out of San Francisco, the first day is a sea day, right? You're not
Hmm.
there till like the afternoon of the second day. And I remember being antsy, like my phone's not working, blah 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 blah. But I kid you not, one of the best feelings of my life was day two when all of this pressure lifted off me because I couldn't do
Yes.
anything. I
Right.
just had to enjoy. They had a gym,
Yes.
they had a casino, they had food, they had entertainment. I could nap. I had a balcony. I mean, it was just,
Yes.
and then you could dress up. Like if you want to have we got a tuxedo, we dressed up, and I am a huge fan of cruises. Obviously, doing 15 or 16 of them now. So
Oh yeah, I felt the same way a little bit, but I've really been very purposeful the last couple of years since I retired from AIG. It's just been a little over 4 years ago to really structure my businesses around my lifestyle. So from the end of 2018, our priority has been to spend at least half the summer, at least 6 weeks traveling somewhere doing family vacations, and so I basically structured my businesses so that I can take 6 weeks off basically and not have to have too many disruptions. And the great thing about the cruise is they did have a Zoom service. I think it was like $10 per person or something like that. So it was really inexpensive, maybe 20. So, you put your phone on airplane mode, you still get texts, you can still call out. You still get email. So I would check it on occasion. But pretty much once a day, I was checking my email, responding
right.
to what was urgent. And other than that, really allowed myself to disconnect, which was great. And you do kind of lose track of time. It's interesting in the elevators, they have these little metal plates that change to tell you what day of the week it
Yeah,
is because
exactly.
everybody forgets what day is today. Um, so
Yeah.
it's amazing how much they have for you from sun up to sundown, and well into the night. There was something for really everybody, from a teenager lounge that
Mhm.
had security, so they made sure only kids 13 to 17 were going in, to karaoke, to amazing Broadway shows and illusionists and ice
Mhm.
skating shows. I mean, it was really something for everybody. And after we did it, my kids were like, "Why? I don't want to do cross countries anymore. Let's go
Yeah.
on cruises where we have something to do and they can
Yeah.
all kind of split and do their own thing if they wanted to for part of the day as well."
Yeah. And then you come together at dinner, right? That was always the kind of thing, right? You're on the ship, they're not going to get lost. And then you
Yeah.
come together at agreed dinner time and you can take pictures like family photos and huge fan. So Olivia and I actually just dropped some serious money on our next cruise. We're doing something a little different. all 15 or 16 of the ones we've done so far are ocean cruises. You know,
Yes.
I think we did a crystal cruise once with like 1,000 people, to some of the bigger boats were, I don't know, 3,000 folks. We're now doing our first river cruise that's capped at
Yes.
250 people.
Where is that
So
going to be?
so it's down the Rhine. It's from Amsterdam to Budapest. It's two
Oh,
weeks.
wow.
Uh,
Wow.
we're going to see we're going to see all these old castles, and it was really the highway of Europe, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a
I
very
thought
different
about doing a
experience.
river cruise, and I have some friends that just did one over in Europe and they absolutely loved it. It was a small cruise too. And I think if I didn't have such young kids that want, the
Yeah,
pools and
action.
all the,
Yeah,
crazy stuff, I would totally do that. But that's on my bucket list. So I'll be interestingly watching you and
yeah.
seeing how that trip goes. The one that we're going to do next year, I've also never been to Europe, right? So
Mm.
I've been to Russia on a couple mission trips, and I was in Jamaica for my honeymoon. And beyond that, I just have not left the country. And it's something that I've
Ah,
always wanted to do. But we were always so busy raising our kids, working, building a business, working real estate. And we just never let ourselves really travel. And so, it's amazing to look back now and just pinch ourselves and say, we really built this lifestyle truly one rental at a time that now allows us the opportunity to say, we can drop everything. We can go travel. So let's really ramp this up and start enjoying, this time traveling together. So that's been an amazing feeling, and just kind of like this epiphany on this cruise. Like, I can't believe we're doing this and in a suite and having, a great time. And
yeah.
we did, we did a couples massage for the first time since we've been married 23
Wow.
years. That was really nice. Bought some jewelry, did a lot of fun things. But the one in Europe, since we've never been to Europe before, with 6 of us and all of our suitcases, I thought, do we really want to fly to Europe and have to find a car big enough for all of us to go in and out with all of our luggage and all these different places, or just love having the cruise drop us off, pick us up, 12 hours in every city and just do a taste of
Yeah.
it. And we just couldn't justify the stress of trying to navigate Europe with 6 people and luggage versus just get on a cruise. And we'll go to 3 countries. So we'll start in Barcelona,
Yep.
Spain, and then we'll go into France, and then we'll
Hmm.
go into Italy. Most of the stops are in Italy. But we're going to do at least a couple of days in Spain before the cruise, and then a couple of
Nice.
days in Rome after the cruise, and maybe a week in Portugal, before the cruise too. So we're going to
Nice.
make the most of it and see 3 or 4 countries while we're there. But I can see us doing this every single year. And if you book early enough, this is something you probably know because you've been on so many. But we just booked on Celebrity Cruise Lines, and they had a special through yesterday, I think, 75% off the second person, like
Yep.
$800 off per room. So we booked our European 9-day cruise for half the cost of 7 people going to Bahamas for 7 days. It's
Nice.
incredible.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my favorite cruise ever, and one that we will likely repeat at some point, was the Mediterranean. We actually started
Yes.
in Italy and we hit all the little Greek islands. Very special trip. I think your kids would love that. Maybe
Yeah.
next time. We've done the Baltic up in Europe. That was very nice. Very different than the Mediterranean,
Mhm.
obviously.
Mhm.
We've done Antarctica, we've done South America, we've done Panama Canal, we've
Wow.
done Alaska a couple of times. We did Hawaii. We've of course done
Yeah.
Caribbean, lots of times. So I love cruises. Also, if you can afford it, I would definitely recommend a balcony, sometimes called a veranda. If
Yes.
you can step up to a suite, I would definitely recommend that. I just did the cruise, the month long in Southeast Asia, and the second biggest room on the boat. It really does feel bigger. It really has a couple of spaces.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and you get all the extras, right? Special place, because one of the things about the big ocean cruises is sometimes it feels like a lot of people, but if you can step up, you get your own room, your own stuff, and it's a much better trip.
Yes, it was well
I
worth it. We did that. We had 4 females in one room and 3 males in another room. And so we did the suites, and you
Mhm,
get a good queen bed, and then you've got a sleeper sofa with,
mhm.
really nice pillow top cushions. We had tons of room. And I really probably wouldn't do it any other way, honestly. It's a few $100s more per person, but
Yeah.
it's not exorbitant. If you can get a special, it makes a really big difference. And we really liked, with me having come off of a broken ankle, I was in a boot the first 2 days, and I had a scooter to get me out to the main parts of the excursions. And then I kind of dropped my boot and just walked the rest of the way. But
Nice.
having the concierge and the suites, they get you on the ship and off the ship first. They
Yep.
get you a tram where you need to go. So having that person, they can get you into the shows last minute and excursions was really very, very helpful, especially
Mhm.
since I was, minorly handicapped on the trip.
Yeah. And again, I really want to go back to something you said earlier. We're don't compare your year one to our year 20. We are
Yes.
clearly enjoying what we've built and frankly earned. But
Yes.
don't forget where we were, right? We were struggling in the beginning, making hard
Yeah.
choices. We didn't do any of this for 10 or 15 years. I,
No.
I I'm happy to have these discussions, but I don't want to people are don't forget the hard days. We had plenty of those also. And I know a lot of people are in those first couple of years.
Absolutely. And one thing I will say that, and I mention this when people say, what would you do differently? There's a phrase, and I don't remember where I heard it, but it's really resonated with me. And that's don't get so busy trying to make a living that you forget to make a life. Right. And
Uh,
for us, for years, and it was just part of how it happened. I worked full time. We started my husband's business in '07. Starting a business and ramping that up is a more than a full-time job. We had 4 kids, and then we started the side hustle on the side. So we really worked 70, 80 hours a week for 10 years to get to this point. But we only ever took a week off, and we drove down to Texas to see my family. Or when we were in Texas, we drive here. So we never vacationed. And it wasn't until about 7 years ago that we said, we have to stop and smell the roses and allow ourselves at least a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks a year of a break to just enjoy each other. So, even if you aren't where we are yet, you can find ways to travel cheap and just make a priority spending a week, a year at least with your family doing something. And it doesn't have to be super expensive. You could go, to a motel and stay at a lake. You can camp, you can go to the beach, whatever it might be. But take the opportunity to invest in time together and vacations throughout your journey. You don't necessarily have to do it big or spend as much money yet, but don't think that you have to wait 10 or 20 years in order to enjoy life because tomorrow's not promised, right? So I
yeah.
wish I had prioritized things like this sooner, and saved up that amount of money and invested my time instead of just hustling 24/7 for
Mm.
years and years and years without these kind of memory making events.
I am so glad you brought that up. That occasionally I get asked what I would do different, and I talk about taking more pictures. But you're absolutely right. I would have taken time each year to get away, whether
Yeah.
even in the beginning I would have done it cheaply to celebrate what we'd accomplished. Right?
Yes.
I was so focused on the next quarter, the next month, the next thing that frankly my daughter missed out. Right? We for 10 years of her, really from like 5 to 15 or so, I was barely around, right? I was traveling 6 days a week, and on weekends we were probably 2 weeks, 2 Saturdays a month, or we were going to Fresno. It was
Yeah.
tough. Um, I wish we had more memories and touchstones. We tried to make up for it later in life. Clearly, we paid for her college. We did all these great things, but I feel like there was some missed opportunity. And again, it doesn't have to be expensive, but be more purposeful. I would agree with that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And the memories that you make, even though, when they're little, kids complain, they're tired, they want to, stop, they want to go back home. Like it is, sometimes challenging to travel, but the bonding and the memories made, they'll never ever forget. So some of my best, times, we didn't travel very often either, but the couple times we did do, couple week long cross country trips, those were the most memorable times for me. And I take a zillion pictures, and I'm so
Mm.
glad now that I have. And now my kids are all going, let's do another one. This is the
Yeah.
first year they've said, we can't wait till next year. Let's do
How
another
cool
cruise
is
and
that?
travel together. So that is fun.
Yeah, you get all four and your husband and mother-in-law. It's just memory making nirvana. So
Yeah,
very, very
for
cool. I
sure.
look forward to. Folks, let us know below. A, do you like cruises or not? B, what was your favorite cruise? I'm always looking for another opportunity to take a cruise. Again, if you've done a river cruise, I would love to hear from you because we just plunked down we did buy the second biggest boat on the boat or on the boat, the suite. So yeah, we're gonna do it again. Anna, where can people find you?
Great. First, I think we should do one together. we'll
Oh
need to
yeah, let's
think
talk
about
about
how to
that.
do that.
Yeah, hey, folks, if you want to see Anna, RAI Mom Kelly, and myself, one reel at a time, do a real estate event, Caribbean, Mexico, Alaska, we should do an event. Who would come to that event? I want to hear from you. Let's do that.
Absolutely. That would be so fun. Yeah. So put that in the comments and let us know what you'd want to do. You can find me here almost every week on your show, and you can find me on social media at REI Mom, and you can find me on my internet website at reimom.com.
I have seen some people do real estate events on cruises. I think we need at least 25 people or 25 cabins. 25 cabins
Yeah.
to make it worthwhile for the cruise, because they're going to give us meeting rooms and things of that nature. So would 25 of you come on a cruise that Anna and I entertained, at least did some education on sea days, and then we just had some good times, because we won't be meeting the whole time. But who would come to an Anna and Zuber real estate event? Let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.